check out about the Diddy boy. Appreciate y'all coming to the channel. If you get a chance to see this, what's good? I want to talk about Diddy to say, yo, he got denied bail. He was fighting. Him and his lawyers was in there trying to see could they get the boy a bail. And old white boy said no to him. So he's stuck in the Bing. There's no escape. And that's kind of tough for the boy. You know what I'm saying? Tough for anybody, really. But he had to go through the whole process of, going to court and dealing with the jurisprudence of America. He was facing life in prison. He got found guilty on 2 counts, which is literally transportation of women for the idea of prostitution. And since it was 2 women, Cassie and Daphne Joy, allegedly Jane Doe, which is 50 Cent baby mama, then he had got guilty on 2 counts. So is those 2 counts gonna get him a large amount of time in jail? It might not, because he already has been doing time. He's already been locked up. And it's a high possibility that he just gonna, get time served or something like that. The bugs is going crazy on me. I might have to go get that spray from the garage, but I'm trying not to, because you gotta take a shower when you put that shit on, and I just took a shower before I came out here. So anyway, but if the bugs go too crazy, I'll bounce. He's sitting up now trying to figure out how to get home, and they told him, no, ain't no coming home. You're gonna sit in here. And that's crazy, because he's been in there like, 9 months since they locked him up. And they telling him he can't leave. And so it's like, damn, man, you've been in that joint all this time. You're a multi-billionaire. It's time for him to walk up out of there and go back to his family. But being caught up on 2 counts, meaning that they get to come at him and say, you guilty, so now you under the remanded of the government. And then they could just say, we remanding you, which mean that ain't no going home. They look for a penitentiary to send you in. So is that gonna happen with Diddy? I don't know, but that's exactly what that means. So now he gotta actually figure out where he's gonna go, you know what I'm saying, as far as jail, and then what sentence they're gonna give him. And that's really the crazy part. Diddy might be in danger if he get in there and he get around the wrong people, you know what I'm saying? He got a sex crime. So that's gonna be bad right there. And then if they put him in the wrong part of the jail, he's gonna be around people that wanna probably fuck him up, and his money might not be able to save him. That's the question. Will his money be able to save his ass if they put him in a prison cell and the guys don't like him and they wanna hurt him? That's really what he gotta deal with right now. Getting locked up and going around folks that wanna smack you around and whoop your ass. That don't mean it's gonna happen, because I'm sure Diddy could take care of himself. He's been locked up pretty long enough now to know how the jail work and how opportunities come and what kind of movement, because they make you do a job when you're in jail. You have to do some kind of job. That's just a part of jail. They'll come at you and say you gotta work in this area, and it's in the basement part of the prison. And even though you Diddy, you still gotta do the job. Or they'll go tell the government like, yo, he ain't working. He don't want to work. And when you locked up, they call that shit like, you basically a slave again in America. That's what the 14th Amendment is all about. They basically make you a slave again in America. And if you deny working, then they could add another crime on you. That's a part of the 14th Amendment. They saying that you cannot deny work when you're a felon. However, they might say time served, because he's been in jail for like months, September to now. That's a nice little stretch, you know what I'm saying? Before the holiday, he was locked up, so it's like 9 months. You can have a baby in the time frame he been gone. My son was born in that time, September to June. So this is the time frame that you could have a baby. So he's birthed into prison. Basically, they gave him his birth into jail. So now he's gonna sit his ass down somewhere. Where they're gonna sit him, I don't know. But the notion is that Trump said he's gonna get him out of there, no matter what they give him. Trump said he's gonna get him up out of there. He ain't gonna let him sit in there. So that is a hope that Trump would do that for him, because otherwise Trump could forget he an old white man. And if the people don't interview him and ask him, then he ain't gonna be thinking of that on his own. He's just gonna look at it and say, I don't even remember saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or if I do remember it, like, damn, so what happened? Tell me more about it. He a super billionaire himself, and so they doing out here making business moves and getting contracts. See, it's really scary to see what happened with Diddy because they could do that to any black person, meaning that the black people that work their ass off to not be street dudes, to not be running in the hood, to not be quote unquote dangerous, they could still come and lock them niggas up too. Them regular dudes that go to work every day, that's got pensions on the way, that's got motherfucking bank accounts, that's got companies, that's entrepreneurs like me, like Diddy. Anybody, they could come after you because your personal life is going to be up for grabs. But I do believe that if it's the way you treat people, so if you come out the gate and you treating people on some foul shit or you using your money as a weapon, you setting up a situation where they could come and strike at you. They say the meek will inherit the earth. And that's really what you saw what happened in this scenario. Diddy was the big guy. And he had the meek around him, but all he wanted to do was get sex and do the damage and, you know, not really catapult people's careers. Even though those girls was making decisions as grown women to be around somebody like him, as rich as he is, he's also foul because he knew his job. He knew his objective. His objective as a CEO of a company was to try to help these people become artists and singers, and that's the whole idea of the relationship. It's not to come around and do a freak off. He had to convince them. And the way you convince somebody when you're a billionaire is through money. So he was able to make them girls believe that by being around him and having that type of relationship with him, that it's going to catapult their careers possibly in the future. But as we all know, nothing happened for them bitches. They never became successful. They never became some singers. If they had big dreams, imagine telling your mother the whole time that you're going to make it as a singer and she waiting on you to fucking drop an album and all you doing is getting freaked on and going to freak offs. You know what I'm saying? But that's private. Don't nobody know you're doing that. You know you're doing that. And you going with the biggest producer in the fucking planet. This nigga could have you in the studio all goddamn week if he chose to. But his connection with you is on some freaky shit. And you down with it because this is the opportunity that's letting you alive. You know what I'm saying? But those girls could have got away from him and built their own thing. And in that regard, you kind of think about it in the sense of maybe they got a mental issue. Maybe them chicks was having mental problems or issues with men or parents issues and shit. And then when somebody come around them with a weird ass fucking proposition, they be down for it. They was down for it. So did he really be wrong for convincing some girls to do some shit that they'll do anyway? That if you talk to them, if you spit at them and holler at them the right way, they'll be going for it. He ain't that wrong. But he is wrong because he was 17 years older than the chick. And that's got basically like your daughter. So you know the level of power. Or if you got somebody mind that's 17 years younger than you, that's one of those things that happen when you get a certain age. You could see people admiration for you. You could see people rocking with you and liking you and kicking it with you. Hey, Joe Biden, that's so funny because I get so many people that say I look like Jay-Z, you would not believe it. You actually think I'm joking about that. I'm shocked all the time because I'm like, look like Jay-Z. I mean, I had some kids one time, I'm finna walk in my crib, and some youngsters, like maybe teenagers, they was walking. He said he free now. So he walking down the street and then be talking about some, hey, Jay-Z. I'm looking like, why the fuck do people think I look like Jay-Z? That is one of the weirdest things. Because my bank account does not look like Jay-Z's bank account. Now, that's when we can become twins. Until that moment, I'm not going to be Jay-Z. Until my bank account look like Jay-Z's bank account, or even 10%. Then I can start saying, all right, yeah, you know what? Matter of fact, I take 1%. 1% of Jay-Z's gross, and then I'll be like, yeah, I look like Jay. I'll be an impersonator. You would catch me in what's those places, like Vegas or something like that on the strip. But it's just really a testament to show you that if you're doing people wrong, they're gonna come at you. And now they denied his bond. Bond denied. How? If look, they gave Trump a bond, and he had 43 felonies. Let's count them down. 43 felonies counts. And was found guilty on them. He walked out of the damn courtroom. He walked out of the damn house of the jail, and he walked right into the presidential office. So how in the hell is Diddy denied bond? when he was found guilty on 2 accounts and a lesser of the counts. He wasn't even found guilty on a RICO. He wasn't found on sex trafficking. He wasn't found on doing the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like trafficking the females. They both got denied on trafficking the females, but he did get for transportation. So to me, it's kind of discombobulated because it's almost like, okay, so I'm guilty for traveling with them in a vehicle, but when we got there, nothing happened. That was illegal because they're traveling to a location. Now, unless the freak offs happened in a vehicle, they didn't claim that. They claimed they happened in hotels and they claimed they happened in buildings. So you telling me a freak off kicked off, you riding, but you never have a chance to actually go to a building, but the actual freak off happened in the car. No, it didn't. It happened at a location. So they saying when they got to the location, they liked the guys. The guys in question, the freak off boyfriends or whatever you want to call them, they said the females was interested in them. So it wasn't like they was against their will, because if they had a chance to meet the dudes, or if they knew the dudes outside of Diddy, they would have went. They would have went for Diddy and said, "I'm fucking with him. I don't care how it feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm rocking with this nigga." So it was really phony to think that Diddy did this against those girls, and they had 11-year relationships. That's outrageous. And even old girl Jane, he paying her rent right now, $10,000 a month, and she admitted that in open court. $10,000 a month is so fucking stupid. You know how your crib look if you got a crib for $10,000 a month. You know how dumb your crib look. Your crib look like a fucking mental case. You walk in your crib and it just look like everybody in here is stupid as hell. You like, man, I love this crib. He said, Cassie said, don't let him go. He gonna get me. Damn, for real, DJ Money. That's crazy if she said that. But it seems weird if she would say something like that, because he was free all this time prior to the court. Why did he come after you at that point? So it's kind of disingenuous. And he paid the money to her suit within 24 hours, so shut up. I'm saying Cassie should shut up, because that don't seem logical that somebody gonna want to threaten you after the fact, after you already then came to court. He know he got the scrutiny of the government watching him. Come on, no way. And them people, if they catch him doing anything, he smoked. That's why you don't want to be on probation. What they doing is doing him a favor. See, the government understand what's popping. If they put him on probation, he's gonna violate it. Because why? Because he's a mogul. He ain't been under scrutiny. He ain't had to be under some kind of watchdog eye of the government. He hasn't had to follow no rules. He's the CEO. He's the starter. He created it. So here's the psychology. He created the thing, and then he runs it inside his own ecosystem, inside his own vacuum. So he hasn't had to fulfill nobody's rules or what they're saying. So now he in a situation where if you just sit in jail and do what they say and do the time, they're gonna give you time served anyway, because you already been sitting in the game. DJ Money was popping. You have to actually sit back for a minute. You say, man, I'm cool with Diddy not ever getting anything, but he deserves after he drops the soap for the rest of his life, he get everything he came out, those he want to control, man. You see that? And that's a deep point, because sometimes it'll be karma. Sometimes it just be the way things actually play out. You're not gonna, you already know this, because they teach you this when you're young. They be like, how you treat people, all the 10 Commandments, all these things they teach you about how life can go back around like a circle, like what go around, come around. People kind of teach you this when you're young. But, you think about it, you listen to it, you ain't gonna actually live all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But now you see, when you get latter aged and things happen for you and you become successful to the level like that, if you're going to be victimizing people who look up to you, using them for their sexual organs, doing kind of ignorant stuff to them, it's not going to come out right. You know what I'm saying? F22, you wild boy out here with that question. That's something for both of them. But even at the end of the day, if they was, you know how America's saying that that's okay to be LGBT. It's not really wrong. If you want to be with a man and all that stuff, that's okay in the world. You can get a job and take care of yourself and have things, but really, it's gonna look. Some people gonna look at you different, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be accepted in America. If that's who you are, it's who you are. You know what I'm saying? So, if Justin Bieber, I heard Justin Bieber sold his. Obviously, he got the money for his catalog, and they say he's finna move overseas to Europe. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's where he get to be more free at. You know what I'm saying? We really don't know people's life, man. We don't be knowing all of the intricate. And it's fun, it's entertaining to talk that crap about them. But we really would not know. You know what I'm saying? Diddy and what he did behind the scenes with them ladies, if they didn't sue him, it's no way we would have known. If they didn't come to court. But now, really, they came to court for the big conversation now. He got to pay them fees. He has to pay them fees now, because it's going to be a lot of money that you got to pay to actually go through this kind of suit. When they sue civilly, each one of them people, so say it was 14 people who came to court, each one of them is going to have a civil suit against him about how they embarrassed themselves and what kind of mental anguish they went through to deal with this case. It's crazy. Now DJ Money, I don't think he going to get no bail. He gone. That's it. He finna sit down. He's sitting down. It's over with. They gave him the chance, and see, he chose that judge. See, that judge name is Subramanian, along that. He's like a East Indian person, and Diddy and them was getting rid of their judges prior to him. So now they got a judge on there, and the judge ultimately who decides your sentence. And he uses the statute, he uses the law, the case law. So you got the prosecution that's going to say, we want you to go to the highest level of what he should get. So if maybe he should get 10, then you stop at 8. And then his lawyers is going to say he did a whole year already. So if he supposed to get 10, give him 2 more years. And they're going to tug of war that. And then now you got the judge that's going to decide off of what the actual forms say on the paper. So if the forms say he got transportation for the idea of prostitution, then whatever that holds, they're going to be within that parameter of that. You know what I'm saying? Glenn F. say so many fine admiral, what the hell, out here to look up to. Let's not allow Diddy to represent anything but a defiant, but a deviant he is. I don't know about all that, man. They throwing Diddy too far butter the bus. Glenn, I don't know about all that. Everybody get to be private in their sexual desires, and just because they broadcasted his all over television and the internet, that don't exactly mean he a pariah. That just mean he got outed. That just mean he got busted out. And he a celebrity, so they feel like there's no privacy inside your celebrity. You are a celebrity, so everybody get to find out if they find out. Inquiring minds want to know. That's what they used to say when I was a kid in the media. Inquiring minds want to know. That's a bunch of folks that's just trying to figure out what the fuck is the truth, whether it's the truth or it's not. People, inquiring minds want to figure out what's going on. And so that don't mean a person is foul because you find out what's going on. It means you really shouldn't even know. You know what I'm saying? This is private business. I'm not going to stop thinking about it like that because we don't know each other's private business, me and you. Like, we people on earth, and what I choose to do in my personal life with my girl and my life is my business, and you too. Whatever you choose to do is your business. And if anybody judge you off of living your life your way, they become crazy because you live in your life. It's not like a big old booklet that you got to go, or a manual you got to bring and get people to sign it. You live in your life. And Diddy also is a person that was living his life. And it's different. It's weird. Now that we know, it's like, oh, fuck. He was doing what? But technically, he was living his life. And those girls was down with him. So they wasn't looking at it as a bad thing until it started getting bad now, and it looks bad to the world. Now those girls looking around saying, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I did the wrong thing. But at that time, they didn't feel like that. They felt like they was doing the right thing, like they liked him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I move in his mansion. I stay over here with him. I travel the world with him. He buy the food. He buy the clothes. They didn't look at it as bad. It's only until right now, because think about it, Cassie and him had broke up for 5 or 6 years. So she never sued him in none of that time frame. She kept it quiet. So when she did bust out and tried to sue him, it hurried up. And he paid her because he probably felt like, well, she could have been said some shit about my life. But you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I appreciate you. Glenn F., I appreciate all the people over here on here showing love and coming to hear me talk about this, because I'm just one person in the world, and in my opinion, I believe it matters just like y'all's. But yes, money does talk, DJ Money. And Diddy could probably get out of jail if he paid the right people, but in a federal situation, everybody is on the up and up. This is the idea of the federal government, that everybody is above that. We're above all of the sinisterness because it's no scamming. It's none of that. Because why? Because that's going to dampen the culture of the American structure. So we got to be 100%. We can't be caring about extra money from a drug kingpin. We can't care about money coming from some CEO that's going to hurt us. It's like, nah, we get our check from the government and then we run the government. And we're not going to care about doing none of that. That's the idea of the government. Obviously, nobody and everybody don't feel like that and live like that. But that's the idea. That if you have some kind of bribery, if you got some kind of stuff that's supposed to take me out of the idea of making America great, so that my kids and my grandkids can have a positive America, nobody scamming, nobody hurting people, then that's what they there for. So even when they say the America against the U.S. against this person or against Diddy, it's basically the righteous people of America, the 12 people, the courtroom, the judge, the lawyers, the prosecution, saying that you're not going to do what you're doing to these people. The people don't have power. The people don't have no say. If they didn't bring Diddy the two down and bring him to court, he could continue his lifestyle unimpeded. He don't have to go to work Monday. He don't have to show up to work in the morning. He don't need to get no rest so he can go to work tomorrow. He can be a mobile, rich dude for the rest of his life. And if it's taking girls' panties, who will stop him? Drip K said, usually when big distractions like this occur while we are focused on the news, governments use this opportunity to put sneaky laws in. That's very true. So you gotta be, what that means, you gotta be watching more than one. You can't just be locked in on Diddy life. You gotta be paying attention to everything. You know what I'm saying? Diddy is more like fun entertainment, even though it's a tumultuous situation for him personally. It's more like fun entertainment. It's more like interesting stuff to figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I was thinking to myself earlier today, I said, I'm so bored. This is when I got off of my live earlier, and I was like, a little while went by, and I was like, I'm so bored. And I was like, damn, I realize now that if you're not engaging with your people, your audience and talking to folks, you're gonna get bored. What else is there to do? You know what I'm saying? It's not a lie. You know what I'm saying? You work your job, you go home, and if you got a fan base or audience or a community, then you talk to them to just kind of keep the day going. Otherwise, you're gonna be locked into some TV show or some series on some Netflix or some dumb shit, and that's all your life gonna be, watching folks that's already rich. You know what I'm saying? And recorded video is nothing less. It's not even live. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even something that you can basically watch it overnight instead of watching it right now. It's gonna still be there. You know what I'm saying? So this is where I think Diddy probably wanted to get back to his normal life, comfort, opulence, living like a rich black dude, and being the beacon, being like the head dude, the top guy in the black race, and what richness is like. He was living that. He the one who gave Jay-Z a blueprint to figure out what he wanted to do, and Puffy got it from Russell Simmons. And so these guys have basically became a CEO of a record label, and then they flipped what that was. Because record companies been around forever. And another black dude that owned a record company back in the day was Berry Gordy, who started all of the Motown stuff. But he wasn't no mogul like that. He was more succinct, more low-key in Detroit. You know, if he did stuff, it was no camera footage. It was not a lot of that. But now that the camera around, when Russell Simmons came out, he gave an image of what a CEO of a black record company is. And he gave his own brother the records. So his brother Run was the damn DJ. So it wasn't like he had to go beg somebody to come. This is his own brother. Like, hey, get your ass out the bed. Come on, we're going to do rap. It became successful. So now that's a blueprint. So they did what they did. He put LL Cool J, Run DMC, a bunch of people started the Def Jam game, and that was rolling. Then you came with Diddy. Diddy saw that and was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to be. Now, it's not like a school for this shit. It's not like a booklet. You have to be watching the industry. You have to be watching these people to see what they're doing and how they're living, from music to fashion to clothing. And that's really what they was doing. They was coming from music, which is what they started, which is concerts, music, physical copies at that time, to actually moving to the next stuff. And then they was moving over to media, then they was moving over to clothing, and then they kept going. Now, you see they pushed it further. Now they got liquor, now they got cryptocurrency. Now it's just so much further, but this is what they were starting to do in the beginning of hip hop. So then you got Jay-Z. Now he's the last guy to take that step. But before Jay-Z got there, you had Master P. Master P did the same dance. He pushed a lot more music. He was a lot more musically involved than you would have Russell Simmons or Puff Daddy. They didn't do songs like that. Diddy did music, but not to the level of Master P. Master P put out probably 25 albums. Then you had Baby. Baby came out after that, and he was like, okay, well, I see Master P rapping. I need to be rapping. And then he dropped his crew, and they all started dropping songs. But you're seeing the trajectory of the CEO. You're seeing, and Diddy would be the second in line of that. He was the guy who, if he didn't carry the torch out, he would be Kobe. If he didn't carry the torch of what Russell Simmons started, it wouldn't be around. It wouldn't be no moguls in music. It wouldn't be the people who you know now that run record companies and you know who they actually are. Versus it would just be white companies. It would be Universal, Arista, whoever the companies are, and they would be the CEO of them, and they wouldn't be black people. You wouldn't even know who they are at all. But these guys was able to make inside hip hop the mogul game of the CEO of it. So now the CEO actually has a look. So now I overlooked one person, and the most important person in that scheme, and I would say Dame Dash, because who Dame Dash was around, he created into a billionaire. The rest of the guys just had artists, like Diddy. Diddy had artists. You probably know some of them, you probably don't know some of them. You know, Russell Simmons, he had a lot of guys he signed on Def Jam. You probably heard of some, you probably didn't. You know what I'm saying? So then you got Baby from Cash Money. You heard of some of his rap dudes. You know Juvenile and them, but Lil Wayne, but what's the other guy's names? You probably might not know all of them. But then when you go to Dame Dash, he had one rapper. He had one guy. And that guy was Jay-Z. Now, they not tight today because of what that was to get to a billionaire status. It probably was a lot of fucking, you know, imagine it was a lot of fighting and a lot of tough days. But they got there. And so now they don't really hang too much no more. But at the end of the day, that was the mogul world. And you watch Dame Dash be a mogul. He was embodying all them dudes in a one. It didn't work out for him ultimately. He wasn't the rapper. So he didn't get the credential that Jay-Z got. And Jay-Z, do what he do. He stepped right into that position that Dame Dash was doing, the CEO. And now Jay-Z is one of the biggest, most business-minded persons in the world. When in the beginning, he was just an artist, and that wasn't his step. So you see what Dame Dash, you see what Puff Daddy and them have left. They left a legacy of what the CEO should be like. Now he's going down. Now he went down for this personal stuff with those girls. And for a lot of us, we saw the whole point of it was that he was like a bad boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like he was disrespecting her. You know, like slapping her, you know, making her do sex offs, freak offs and shit. He wasn't being like a real upstanding dude. And those girls had chances to leave. They should have left. They should have got the fuck up and leave. They should have never came back. That's why they couldn't get a conviction. Because if he did this to you one day and you could claim it happened, then why would you show up to another event that he throwing? Why would you come on your own volition and show up to a place? Why would you even talk to him if you went to that place? And even if you went to that place, why would you leave with him? When are you going to make a decision for yourself to not fuck with Diddy, to outly claim it? I'm not going over his crib. Like you see what he did to me last Friday or whatever day. When are you going to make these points? But whatever he was given, and we probably know it was money, it kept him coming back. It kept him coming back. They running back to him. They feeling like I got to do it again. They knowing their rap career or singing career is not moving. They knowing that if they bust him out on any of this shit, it's going to embarrass him to fucking the high heel. But nobody does it. Everybody sit on the back burner and chill and just come up off of him. You know, whatever. You taking me out of town, I'm going. He buying clothes for everybody, let's go. He got drugs, give me some. So nobody looked at it like they should have fought back until this situation happened. And everybody ran in there and was like, no, you saw what he did. He's an evil dude, he wrong, he should have never did this to a female. And rightfully so. You know, he got his wake up call. You know what I'm saying? So tomorrow morning when he wake up in jail and it ain't no more court case, it ain't no more courtroom dates. You going to probably ship you right back to your old jail you was in. You ain't going to be downtown at the court building no more. They just going to take you back to your main jail that they arrested you and took you to initially, and you going to sit there now until they give you a court date or whatever date they set. And then I don't think it's going to be tomorrow, but it could be. but I doubt it because he got convicted. So now it's like, yeah, next court date a month from now. But with him being so rich, this is another thing to show you how rich Diddy is. If he go to court tomorrow or by the end of this week, that shows he got money. Because normally after your conviction, they either lock you up that day and then you start your time, or you go home. And when you go home, you come to court again later down the line. So if he actually goes back to his cell, then they probably ain't gonna let him come back. And it's gonna be a while before he come to court. It's gonna be down the line, like about 3 months, 2 months, a month. And then he come back to court looking all gray, looking all old. Yeah, we sentenced you to blah, blah, blah. He already done did it here in 3 months. Like I've been popped off all this time. I mean, I don't know why y'all bugging like this. Or, because he's a billionaire, they could go in there and say, man, go ahead, man. Go ahead, bro. We held you in here. You did 11 months. We're going to get you time served, going back to your life. But being in the music industry again and doing concerts, showing up at the award show, I would not advise that to him. If I was his lawyer, I would be like, Diddy, do not go to none of that shit. Forget music. Matter of fact, you rich. Go in your mansion, get your fucking music thing, bring it down there, and make all your shit in your house. You know what I'm saying? Y'all appreciate that. Hey, DJ Money, have a good one, bro. Yeah, but that's what I would do if I was him. I would be like, I'm done with the music industry. I'm done with trusting anybody. I'm not about to f with people because I know damn well as soon as I do that it's gonna be my demise. So everybody don't call me, don't contact me about none of that shit. Just let my money come in from my ventures. But you gotta get out first. So he gotta get out of there. And I think that judge should have gave him a bond. That judge is so foul. But Diddy kept changing judges. He kept trying to put paperwork in to get a new judge. And then they did it 4 times. This is the 4th one. Okay, now you locked in with this one. You can't change no more. And then dude sit right there and tell him no bond. It's like, come on, man. Come on. What the fuck I'm finna do sitting in here? Eat this bullshit food? What y'all trying to get me to work in the kitchen? Like, what is the reason? Come on, that judge is so foul for that. That judge should have been like, come on, go ahead. Everybody else get a bond. The guy from Abercrombie and Fitch, Trump, like, you know, he should have got a bond. But, you know, they not going to be able to get Trump to pardon him until he get fully sentenced. So he's in limbo right now. Trump said he'll pardon him, but you can't get pardoned until you get sentenced. And then you start to do your time. And then that's when Trump going to be like, okay, cool, he done, okay, let him out. You know what I'm saying? So that is the thing right there. And then you might have to wait a grace period. You know they're going to be like, oh, you can't pardon a person until after the first year or after the first 90 days. I don't know. You know how it is when they got all these laws. And, you know, me and you, we got to go to the DMV. They change the stuff every time. You be like, what? Oh, man, I didn't know y'all changed that. So it's like that might happen when he want to get pardoned, but it's like a time frame you got to wait. Or you gotta, you know, make sure certain people sign off on it that goes to Trump. Or it's probably a chain of command that gotta happen in order to get it to Trump. It's like you just would never know. You know what I'm saying? But not having to actually go through one of those, it make you really happy when you don't gotta go through what Diddy and them going through. And y'all gotta like and subscribe to this video because I'm telling y'all some dope stuff. Y'all gotta hit me up and share this and everything like that because I'm gonna be on here talking all this stuff to y'all because it's just my opinion and it's what I believe. But, you know, I was a big fan of Diddy, so I watched him on my last podcast earlier. I talked about how I met him in Philadelphia when I was in my 20s. And we did a movie I directed called Hood Life. It's on YouTube right now. Put Hood Life and Hood Films behind it, and it should pop up, or you sub Hood my name, it'll pop up. Anyway, as we did that movie, my buddy was like, let's go to New York and give it to Diddy. And so we actually did that. We didn't get a movie to physically Diddy. We took it to his office, and then we went to Philly for the All-Star game, and that's when we saw Diddy. But it was fun. You know, we was that young in our 20s thinking like this dude gonna make us make it because he was such a mogul. And you can't look into the future and see that they was gonna one day call him a sex fiend and all these weird words that, you know, it's like, damn. You know, and then he had a bad name anyway because people was claiming he was like gay, and they was claiming he was bi, and they was claiming he was stealing music money from them. It was, you know, when you're in the game 30-something years, you're gonna have people who don't like you. And a lot of times, their voices be louder than the regular people. You know, it's a guy on YouTube called, what's his damn name? Gene. Gene, I forgot his last name, but his name Gene. And the dude been talking about Diddy since 2018, 2017 on the internet, making statements. Now you fast forward to today, 2017 to 2025. It's about 8 years, man. 7, 8 years of just nothing but Diddy dissing Diddy on the internet constantly. YouTube then ended up growing into what it is now. Now YouTube, you make money off views, you make money off ads. So if you've been talking shit about Diddy for fucking 7, 8 years, now your YouTube channel start getting recognition because you can make money from views and all that, and people watching it. You know what I'm saying? And then now you get money. Now you start being like, damn, my bank account just swole up. Wait a minute. So if I just keep telling people about Diddy, I can make money. Okay, anyway, yeah. So this what happened, and rightfully so. That don't mean that what he's saying is a lie, because we wasn't with him and what he was hanging with Diddy or being security for Diddy. But it's a way to get money. And so you're not going to be Diddy. You're not going to make as much money as Diddy made. So your experience around him is your money. And nobody can tell you your experience. And nobody can tell you that you can't talk about your experience. And nobody can tell you that you can't make money from your experience. So he's not doing nothing wrong. I'm just saying that by keeping that foot on the pedal for all that time. And now you see how it grew. Now, dude is a celebrity in his own right. You know what I'm saying? And now Diddy that went down from that high echelon that he was when old boy first started talking about him to now you can step over Diddy anywhere you go around America. Anybody mention his name, you can step right over him and be like, oh yeah, that guy. And at the time when old boy started talking about this, people was hitting him up saying, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Why would you do this? Why are you saying this kind of shit? And he looked crazy. He looked like a pariah. He looked dumb. He looked like this nigga is mental. Hey man, whatever happened to you, you probably need to go get some help. But he kept his foot on the pedal because whatever happened to him, he believed it fully. And it was nothing nobody was gonna say. Now, we wasn't there to experience that with him, but we did see him stand tall about his position. And he never let up. And from the time he made his first video to today, when you see Diddy just getting convicted from said type of activity that old boy was mentioning, he didn't mention all of the intricate stuff about what Diddy was doing with those girls, because you know as security, they go in the room, they close the door. So you're not actually gonna stand in the room with them, and if you did, it won't be every single day. So you're not gonna be able to see everything they do, but you will probably be around them and see the people that they're around. You know what I'm saying? But every single moment of their day, you might not actually get to see that. But he was around them enough to know Diddy lifestyle, his schedule, what he liked to do. And so he was able to say it to the world. And now, busting Diddy out like that, it's like, damn. Ooh, we looking at Diddy like, and now you hear all the stuff that they claiming about him now. And it makes it even more worse. It's like the girls saying what they said about him. To me, I'm like, how those females gonna say what they said about him and then the federal government put him in jail? They said he took men's Blase Skippy and put it on his nipples. Now they gonna put him in jail with other men